Raymond as the Deputy Leader of Opposition, and lastly, Amba as Opposition Whip. Okay, before we start, I would like to remind you of some rules that we need to follow during this debate. Okay, firstly, each speaker will have 7 minutes to deliver their speech. Thirdly, yang kedua, you may not interrupt your opponent when they are speaking, except for points of information during set time. Point of information allowed after the first minute and before the last minute. 3. We be mindful of your words and be polite as you speak. 4. Each speaker has a maximum time of 30 seconds to finish their sentence. Failure to do so will have your team's marks deducted. 5. To give out POI, make sure to turn on your camera and click the raise hand button. 6. The flow of the debate is as such. The Prime Minister will begin her speech, followed by the Leader of Opposition. Then the Deputy Prime Minister will continue the speech, followed by the Deputy Leader of Opposition. The Government Whip will begin his speech right after. Lastly, the first or second speech or of team will conclude the debate by giving out the line speech. Okay, that's all the rules. So, Prime Minister Amira, you may begin.
Testing, is my mic all right?
Okay, you may begin now.
Okay.
Share screen
audible,
motion
right?
ke? Sel.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. A wise man once said that it is better to debate a question without settling it than to settle a question without debating it. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you, especially to the wise Judge Nur Hidayani. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this debate. Welcome from this side of the house where we believe that teachers should be banned from interacting with students via social networking sites. Now, we as today's provision strongly believe that teachers should be banned from interacting with students via social networking sites. But before we come to our actual argument, let us first define some important terms in this debate. We believe that what is meant by the word ban in this motion means officially or legally prohibit something. Next, teachers, a person who teaches especially in school, interacting, act in such a way to have an effect on each other. Students, a person who is studying who is currently studying. Basically, we can see the contradicting of age here between teachers and students. Next, social networking site, SNS, a type of online platform where people use to build social networks or social relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, technology in the classroom has become the new norm, providing a wide range of learning and productivity opportunities. This new landscape is constantly changing and can be challenging to navigate, particularly as we work to establish social media boundaries and protect children from potentially harmful aspects of online communication. As a result, we've been appointed here today to discuss whether teachers should be banned from interacting with students via social networking sites. Once again, we as today's proposition have structured our case. To begin with, this House believes that teachers should be banned from interacting with students via social networking sites, as there is a possibility of inappropriate relationships between students and teachers online. Right off the bat, in my opinion, there has never been an appropriate relationship other than educational relationships between teachers and students, and there will never be one unless the students are done with school and have become legal adults. Ladies and gentlemen, according to a special study, studies have shown that 50% of students have social media accounts by the age of 12, and most of them have their own cell phone by the time they reach middle school. By letting teachers and students communicate via social media or any private networking sites, we are actually putting our kids at risk of being vulnerable to people with bad intentions. So through this, we know that most teens tend to hide their online activities. Don't lie, we all do that. From parents through various apps that are designed for this purpose. This is a factor that child sexual abusers tend to exploit. They can do almost anything with the kids that does this without being exposed. These teens might be open to having a relationship with their educators as they believe that this makes them even cooler or will have benefits with homeworks. These predators might also create relationship with the students with the purpose to sexually groom them. Hence, by allowing teachers and students to communicate via social media, we are actually opening doors to inappropriate relationships. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, teachers should be banned from interacting with students via social networking sites. As I mentioned before, there is a potential role in exploitation and abuse of children. This widespread access to private electronic communication creates an entirely new avenue for abuse and the possibility of risky personal relationships forming between staff and students. And once this is established, you will guarantee that this communication can be difficult to terminate and nearly impossible to manage. Child access to electronic devices and popular social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is frequently exploited by child sexual abusers. To add more, ladies and gentlemen, they might also encourage students to get in touch with them via specialized apps that hide their previous communications. There are now apps, ladies and gentlemen, that prevent texts and calls from showing up on phone bills, apps that makes text and photos temporary, so they can vanish after a brief period of viewing. If you don't believe me, look at WhatsApp yourself, ladies and gentlemen. And there are also apps that allow live streaming video interactions without recording and photo vaults. This makes it so easier for the predator to prey on their victim undetected. These kids are still young, ladies and gentlemen, and they are vulnerable to all these risks. So to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, we as the government believe that the students and teachers should be banned from interacting via social networking sites. The students are young children, ladies and gentlemen, or teenagers who are susceptible to lies and deception. These mature teachers could easily prey on the helpless. No teachers or students should be able to connect online because we need to protect our children from any attempts to rob them of their childhood. Parents are not always equipped for these kinds of interactions online, and therefore the best option is to put up a ban for these kind of interactions, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I repeat, all of these does nothing to benefit the child if you do not ban it. In fact, it exposes them more to the dangers of being taken advantage of. And I like to emphasize this once more. This is why we believe that teachers and students should not be contacting via social networking sites. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech, Prime Minister. Okay, now we will hear from the leader of the opposition.
Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good evening.
Wait, sorry. Wait,
Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2. one, and I'll start now. Right. Good evening, Madam Speaker, worthy members of the government, and members of the floor. The Prime Minister very eloquently painted a picture of ghastly proportions. However, ban? Why would you want to ban teachers from interacting with students using social media networks if these problems can be easily it can be easily avoided? Right.
I'm sorry, leader of the opposition. Can you wait?
Sorry, can I restart my speech? Okay. Hello, can I restart my
Wait.
speech?
All right. So right now, the stopwatch are still not ready. Okay. So please wait until the technical are done with it.
All right. All right.
Okay, you may start now.
Okay. Okay. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Right. Good evening, Madam Speaker, worthy members of the government, and members of the floor. The, the, Prime Minister very eloquently painted a picture of ghastly proportions. But however, why would you want to ban teachers from interacting with students via social networking websites when they can be very easily avoided? Right. And the status quo of today is perfectly fine, where students and teachers are able to interact with one another via social networking websites. And the benefits that come from this are more accessible, increase the bond with the teachers and students, and allows for greater communication between the students and said teacher. Right. Now, before proceeding any further, the stand coming from us, the opposition, is simple. We, as the opposition, strongly stand against this motion, which this House would ban teachers from interacting with students via social networking websites. Right now, moving on to the definition, the Prime Minister of the government gave a suffice definition, which we accept. Right now, moving on to my rebuttals. First off, she said that teachers interacting with students via social networking websites will lead to inappropriate relationships and sexual abuse. Well, I am aware that this can happen, but this can very easily be avoided. How, you may ask? Well, the student can just screenshot the messages and show them to their parents, the head of the school, or even to the police. We are not talking about kindergarteners. We are talking about high schoolers and middle schools. They are aware of this and they can just open up freely to their parents or loved ones. Right now, and the Prime Minister failed to introduce her teammates. Yes. So moving on to my case split, I, as the leader of the opposition, will present our first contention, which falls under the keyword increased bond. And my second speaker will put forth two watertight contention, which are more communication and greater, what was that? And and great and sorry and more accessible. Right, my third speaker will finally do what he does best, which is to rebut all the points put forth by the government and show you by way of sound reasoning that our case is indisputable and this motion must fall. Right, now with everything out of the way, let me move on to my arguments, which which uh, which which is uh, which is which teachers can increase the bond with the students via social networking websites. But firstly, students can share their thoughts, and students can share their thoughts if the with the teachers, right? And teachers can provide fresh methods of interacting with students via, for example, online quizzes and etc. As well as this, social networking websites aids in learning, collaboration, and communication, which my second speaker will elaborate further. And this can extend learning opportunities such through online classes, right? And and right, okay. First of all, let me explain how social networking websites can increase the bonds, right? Let's say a student is nervous at school. They're introverts, right? They need they're too shy to go up to the teacher